Today I'm answering questions about the books I've read and the books I've written. Let's get right into it. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Julian. For those of you who do know me, welcome back to my channel. Earlier this week, I posted an Instagram story with a question box. You asked away, and I appreciate your interest in the books I've read and the books I've written. But before we get into this Q&A, I want to give you a quick update on my upcoming thriller novel release. I've officially finished the editing phase, and after 7 drafts, I'm now proofreading my novel, which is set to release in January. The novel is called Look Away, and I'll be playing the book trailer at the end of this video. Now on to the Q&A. Least favorite book trope. If I had to pick a least favorite book trope, it would be Grumpy Sunshine. Just my personal preference, but if I'm gonna read a book about 2 people with different personalities, I'd rather follow the tropes opposites attract, forbidden love, or fish out of water. Now, if you followed me for a while, you know that I love my books with high stakes. So based on my experience reading Grumpy Sunshine, I've noticed that the books I've picked are satirical, or they don't really have that grit I'm looking for in the books I read. Now, let it be known that just because Grumpy Sunshine is my least favorite trope, it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy reading Grumpy Sunshine tropes. Out of all my favorite tropes, Grumpy Sunshine is just my least favorite. What is your favorite genre? I'd say my favorite genre at the moment is the thriller genre, but I think that's only because I'm writing a thriller novel right now. Usually my favorite genre ties into whatever book I'm writing, but I'll build on that a little bit. I'd say that the thriller genre is my favorite because these stories can push some serious mental boundaries, take deeper dives into tainted minds, and have the craziest plot twists. But I've been itching to get into fantasy, so who knows, next time I post a Q&A video, my favorite genre might be fantasy. What made you love reading? I think I started to love reading when I started taking my writing more seriously. When I was in elementary school, I was constantly reminded that I had a low reading level and my reading comprehension scores were terrible. So I think that messed with my confidence in my own ability to read. So I stuck with reading the books we had to read at school. It wasn't until I started writing my own novels, I started tapping into the bestseller lists, learning more about people who read for fun, trying to figure out why they read for fun. That's when I was exposed to some amazing books that I would say made me love reading. Is Normal People your favorite book? No. How many books on average have you... Just kidding. I'll elaborate. Normal People is not my favorite book. I read this one back in May of 2022 and it was good, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite. At the time, I think I was coming off of Verity and Daisy Jones and the Six, and those tropes had me super captivated. So, I don't know, I guess Marianne and Connell's trope just didn't really resonate with me as much as the others did. Just my take. It is possible I didn't give Normal People a fair shot. Maybe it deserves a reread. How many books on average have you read this year? I've only read 11. And I know that that's a low number, but it's only because I had some really tough deadlines to meet for this upcoming thriller novel release. It's actually tough for me to read while in the writing phase because other authors' tones and styles start to bleed into my writing. I promise, when I release this book in January, I'll be bumping up that book's read goal. How has your life changed since you've written 3 novels already? Mentally, it's now easier for me to write more in less time. It's also crazy because I literally see my characters and settings more vividly in my mind. Physically, I've gotten more disciplined. I'd say that I'm learning more about my writing process and then also the process that revolves around writing. I've become more disciplined, like waking up early to get in the gym so that I have a productive morning writing session. I've also been going in on having a proper diet and a proper sleep schedule. Emotionally, it's gotten a bit more exhausting. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my writing, so now that I'm finishing up my 3rd book, I have a standard for myself that I've set, but also a standard that other people have set for me. The first release was easy because there was no bar set. I was setting the bar with that first release. I had nothing to compare it to or to be compared to. Now there's a bar I set for myself and I don't want to meet it, I want to exceed it. Relationally, I'd say more challenging. Over the years, I've become obsessed with this journey as an author in my writing. To be blunt, I've also found myself less emotionally available because I'm pouring all my emotions, time, and energy into the characters I write about. Spiritually, I feel like I'm in the best spot I could possibly be in. Don't get me wrong, my faith is tested from time to time, but I've never been more sure that God has called me to write. And with each day I pour everything I am into my writing, I find myself becoming more in line with what God is calling me to do as a storyteller. I hope you can see that in the books I read, and if you can't yet, you will soon. Do you have a writing routine? Yes, big time. This may be a hot take, but I think the only reason I am confident in my writing routine is because of the routine I've built around my writing. I wake up at 5:30 a.m. and the first thing I do is go to the gym. At the end of my lift, I do a steady form of cardio where I open myself up mentally to any ideas or concepts that can be used in my writing later in the day. Once I get home, I get ready for the day, and the first thing I do is technical writing. So writing with the aim of hitting a specific deadline, whether it be word count, page count, or the amount of chapters. Then I take a break and go outside. This is my time to get lunch with a friend or call somebody and just get that human interaction that I miss out on for most of the day because I'm spending most of the day with fictional characters. Now in the afternoon, I do my creative writing session where I go to a coffee shop and I can be surrounded by people that could influence my writing while I'm writing. So whether it's something somebody's wearing or a conversation somebody else is having, not that I eavesdrop all the time, it can have an impact on the characters in my book during the scene that I'm writing in that exact moment. Then around 7, I'll shut it down. I'll spend time with family, or I'll watch a movie, or I'll read a book, or do something that allows for me to exert less energy, but still be in tune with that creative side. Then I repeat the same thing the next day. Doesn't matter if it's the weekday or the weekend. Every day is Saturday if you do what you love. How do you outline your ideas for a book? First, I write my book idea out in one sentence. Then I create a PowerPoint presentation where each slide represents a character. I write out what each character likes, what they dislike, how they're connected, and I'll put aesthetic photos that kind of show what the character looks like or the traits they embody. Then I go back to that one sentence book idea and I turn that one sentence into a full page summary of the book with the help of that character presentation I made. Next, I take that full page book summary and the character presentation and I turn it into a chapter by chapter outline in bullet point form. Finally, I start turning those bullet points into full sentences and paragraphs. I'll add some dialogue, and when I get through all the bullet points, I have my first draft. So that's my Q&A for today. I hope you enjoyed learning just a little bit more about me, and thanks for sending in your questions. If you got this far in the video, I ask that you give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more book content from me. Also, if you're looking for a current read, I'm the author of 2 books that I highly recommend reading. The first is Night After Night, an epic party novel about an up-and-coming nightclub promoter who's exposed to the dark side of the Hollywood party scene. And the second is Right My Wrongs, a rock star romance about 2 songwriters who fall in love through the songs they write together. Thanks again for watching. Now, as promised, here is the video trailer for my upcoming thriller novel release, Look Away.